This is how I'd start over with $10,000 in Vietnam and Southeast Asia if I had to escape America and the United States today. Is it a worst case scenario or a best case scenario? You decide. So what if you legit had to leave the United States tomorrow? Imagine waking up, realizing you have to get out of the US right away and you've got 10,000 bucks to your name. That's it. No savings account, no investment, no home equity, just 10 grand to hit the reset button on your life. Or worse, maybe you're desperate and you need to escape America. Laid off, divorced, just straight up SOL. So where to go? How do you live? And how do you make the money last long enough to actually build a real life abroad? This is my blueprint. I fly straight to Vietnam, and not to Saigon penthouses or touristy Hoi An villas, but to the corners of your country where your money stretches the farthest and buys you the most amount of runway without sacrificing your quality of life. And trust me, you can do this. I've done it. Will Travels has done it. It is doable. Why 10,000 bucks? At 5K, you're buying survival time, but still scraping to get by. I did it. You might not be able to. At 10K, if you don't have a job offer, 10K, you hit the ground running. 10,000 can legit last a year, maybe more if your pockets are tight and you make good choices. You'll have enough breathing room to avoid desperation and actually build something stable and enjoyable. And in my opinion, Vietnam is the perfect affordable expat destination because your fixed costs are insanely low. Play it smart, minimalist, don't splurge, don't live the suburban air-conditioned life. You easily get by on $600 or $700 a month outside big expat bubbles. That means 10 grand buys you 12 to 16 months. Find a reliable income in person, build online revenue, make a few personal connections after you land, solidify your escape as a permanent move to Vietnam with a long-term visa. Just be real and keep your heads out of the clouds. Because there is a worst case scenario. You land in Vietnam with 10K, treat it like vacation money or a frat boy, overpriced beach bars and foreign tourists in bikinis, $6 craft beer, $40 Airbnb with Instagram decor, $1,200 or 12% of your savings gone in 6 months, 3/4 your cash out the door, you're broke, humiliated, begging to borrow a few bucks for a one-way ticket back home. 10K only works if you stretch it like a monk. Don't burn your cash living out a scene from The Hangover in Bangkok. Either way, you're gonna get your first taste of Southeast Asia, but you wanna savor the sweetness and make it last. So what's next? Where to after you land? So where do you go first? Forget Da Nang's beach condos or Tao Dien's leafy villas. If you're playing the $10,000 game, you want max runway. That means Quy Nhon, a quiet coastal city with unreal seafood, cheap apartments, and almost no Westerners. Studio apartments within walking distance to the beach and ocean can be $200 to $250. This is the next place, and you'll have plenty of time to accommodate before prices go up here. Dalat, a mountain town, cool weather, strong cafe culture. Rents start at $150 to $250 if you avoid Airbnbs and look for traditional Vietnamese style apartments in the very walkable city center. You can easily cut costs to a minimum. Hanoi, skip the Old Quarter, Tay Ho, and West Lake expat hubs. Head to Long Bien or Dong Da. Find a tiny studio for $300 or 6 to 7 million dong. Just steps from the city and the famous draft beer at Beer Street. In Saigon, you can go to Bin Tan, $300 to $400 studios, fully furnished. It's loud, it's chaotic, but it's dirt cheap and it's fun. And this is a great place to find work and hustle. I just did an interview with Kevin from Story of KT and we showed a place just like this. Worst case scenario, you ignore my cost-conscious advice, pick the obvious spots like Saigon expat bars, condos with infinity pools, business class escort cocktails, and Hoi An villas in the crowded Old Town. Or you huddle up with other expats in low-supply Da Nang condos in the An Thong tourist walking streets. Every landlord's gonna see you as a foreigner and just double the rent. Why wouldn't they? Suddenly you're paying $600 to $800 for a studio you could have had for $250. Your runway is cut in half. Choosing the wrong city, the wrong rent, is the fastest way to make 10K act like lighter fluid for the fire. But hey, you still get to make friends with some other people just like you halfway around the world and enjoy the balmy weather. It's not so bad. So how do you get here? Budget flights. You need to save. You don't blow your budget on flights through London or Dubai on Emirates or Qatar. Out of the US, you're aiming for Manila, Bangkok, or Kuala Lumpur as Asian hubs, then grabbing a $50 to $100 connection on AirAsia or VietJet and hopping your way into Vietnam. Carry only a 7 kg backpack and you'll skip baggage fees. The whole journey under $800. Then the real spending starts when you hit boots on the ground in Vietnam. So how do you do this smart landing? Hostel first, not an apartment. Your first move is definitely not signing a lease, even for 3 months. It's dropping into an $8 to $12 a night hotel or hostel for the first couple of weeks. Why? Because the lobby is your command center. Talk to everyone, other travelers, staff, locals hanging out, ask them where to eat, what's cheap, who's selling a Honda Wave semi-automatic scooter, which neighborhoods have student housings, and which English centers are packed with students every single night of the week. Each on-the-ground tip is going to glean you and save you money and time, and it's accelerating your transformation to a new expat life abroad that's actually successful. The worst case scenario here is bad, but it's not terrible. You panic on day 2 and sign a 12-month lease you found in a sponsored Facebook ad. You pay a 3-month deposit in cash you're never going to see again. You cough up high monthly rent for a flashy pool and amenities, but no flexibility. And worse, it's probably not even in a good area. So 3 weeks later, you realize you're in the wrong neighborhood, miles from cheap food, and the part-time work at the English schools because everyone already speaks English where you landed in an expat bubble. But you're stuck there in the overpriced foreign-only area. That mistake alone can sink half your budget before you even start. But hey, if you paid up front, at least you have time to think about your next move and find work that pays a bit more. So how do you get around town? How do you look for that spot? There's only one answer in Vietnam, friend. You know it. Transport, your first big move, your first big buy. Day 1, you download the Grab app, hold onto your small helmet, pucker your arsehole, and get on the back of that bike. Enjoy the $1 rides and hope to God it's not rainy season. But within 2 weeks, you're buying. And here's the play. It's a semi-automatic Honda Wave. These things never break. They're just 110cc. They're bulletproof, man. You can find one for 6 to 8 million dong, like under 240 to 320 US on Facebook Marketplace. That's less than a monthly subway pass in New York, and it's gonna carry you everywhere you need to go, possibly for years. Like, your scooter isn't just transportation, it's freedom here in Vietnam, and it's what makes the whole plan not just possible, but downright efficacious. You're gonna get shit done when you get it done on your motorbike. The absolute worst case scenario, well, I guess you crash, but no, it's that you skip the bike because you think it's too dangerous. I don't know how to drive, I don't have a license, I don't have hands, my peripheral vision is bad. Okay, whatever. So now you're bleeding money on air-conditioned 7-seater Grab cars that are $5 to $10 a pop. You're sitting in traffic on your phone like a modern-day Raj, whatever. After a month, you could have bought 2 Honda Waves with the prices of your taxi. It's silly. And when it starts raining, the rates surge. In Vietnam, without wheels, you're broke, immobile, and you're just an outsider. Worst case scenario, you're walking around a new neighborhood where there's literally no sidewalks, traffic, and sewage everywhere, and you're wishing you weren't even here because you're not really here. Okay, so what are you gonna do? The actual house hunt when you are boots on the ground with your bike. Once you're mobile, you hunt for a studio apartment. Don't scroll Facebook, don't pay expat markups, don't look in English. Ride up and down the streets near the universities and language centers. That's where landlords are used to renting to students. And you'll find small but solid studios with a desk, a bed, and fast Wi-Fi for 5 to 6 million dong, or about 150 to 200 bucks, paid monthly contract, cash in hand. Get yourself set up. Look for that cha tui sign. Worst case scenario here, you get lazy and never leave the hostel, or even worse, you default to that tiny but central Airbnb because it's walkable and cute. 500 bucks a month, poof. That's a 4-month mistake in one swipe. Meanwhile, locals are renting brick apartments with balconies for half the price 2 streets over and splitting the cost with 2 roomies, so they're paying 80 bucks a month, what you're paying 500 for. But hey, at least you can learn from other travelers, thrifty expats and students in the hostel. Maybe they'll even invite you to lunch and buy you some noodles. The most important part, noodles, food. Vietnam is where food saves your life. It is a transformative experience. If you want to eat Western food, get lost, stop watching. You can eat street meals here for $1.40, 40K, pho, $1.50, endless fruit, coffee, delicious produce. Splurge at mid-range restaurants, it's still only $5 per person, $6. That's under $400 a month to eat 3 meals a day out and to never do dishes or cooking again. Eat like a local and your waistline will thank you, your budget will thank you, and trust me, you might actually start kind of feeling like a local. You'll never be one though. You're always a guest. Don't forget it. Work isn't just about money here. Here's the real secret. You start looking for work immediately. Find a job before you get here on Facebook if you can. Not because you need the paycheck on day one, you've got 10K in the bank, but because work gets you two humongously important things. A community. The fastest way to meet locals is to walk into English centers, shake hands, and ask if they need a native speaker. Reminder, don't be an arsehole. Shave, put on a collared shirt. Superficial stuff like that goes a long way here. And a haircut and a shave only cost like $3. Long term, this is how you get sponsored. You get a job even 10 hours a week, boom, TRC, temporary resident card. A year later, just negotiate with the school too. They'll probably pay for your visa or TRC if they just deduct it from your first month's salary. Problem solved. If you listened and picked a city with universities, you'll find these English language centers everywhere, especially if you go off the beaten path. Pleiku, Haiphong, Ninh Binh, Vung Tau, Phu Quoc. They're desperate for native English teachers because people just pass through and don't stay here. If you commit to 3 months, 6 months, you suddenly double your value. That is your ticket to a long-term visa and a steady 15 to 20 hour gig. Do that part-time, your 10K stretches forever, and don't worry, you still have plenty of time to start your own YouTube channel or your blog or your Instagram or whatever it is you're dreaming of doing. Worst case scenario, you wait. You tell yourself you'll apply for jobs when the money runs out, then you wake up 4 months later with half your savings gone and no visa sponsor in sight. Work is more than cash. It is your lifeline to stay long term. Blow this step, you're back on the plane, or you're getting married to the first gold digger you meet. If you get absolutely desperate, like you're down to your last $2,000, find a way to get to Hanoi. They're always hiring. There's a huge English teaching Facebook group. I'll put it right here and link it below. Take the first job you get offered, but make sure you make a deal with them to get paid every week in cash. This is very important. No working for free to 6 to 8 weeks and then getting left in the lurch by some shitbag scammer running a Vietnamese version of a Hagwon. Do not do that. Don't tell anyone I told you to either. Here's where most people screw up. They spend the money till it runs out, then they panic. I do the opposite. Put away $2,000 as an emergency stash in a different account you don't have access to, or like traveler's checks. Don't touch it unless you're injured, need a visa run, or absolutely have to fly home. Literally keep a second account you're not spending from with that 20% savings. That leaves you $8,000 to budget. That's an ample $670 a month to live like a monk in Vietnam. That mental buffer changes the entire game. You're living lean, but you never get desperate and make bad decisions. So the worst case scenario here, you skip the emergency stash. Every dong is play money. You're tossing it around like Monopoly money. You crash your bike, need stitches or surgery. You cheaped out on the $50 a month for Safe Doing Nomad insurance and didn't use my affiliate link below, which I so kindly left in the video description. And suddenly you're wiring mommy and daddy or your best friend for $1,500 and the plane ticket home. You're broke, you're embarrassed, and you're talking smack about Vietnam, even though it's better than you are. The whole point is to build independence, not to crawl back begging. So how do you not screw it up? That is the question. Okay, 1 month in, you've survived this far. What next after your first 30 days? That first month is going to be a reconnaissance and also a personal renaissance. Listen and learn, put yourself out there, not on YouTube, but with real people, because there's tens of thousands of expats who've already done exactly what you're dreaming of doing and researching right now. You find your cheap apartment, you set up your motorbike, you figure out your food routine, then it's time to extend your visa. Vietnam's 90-day e-visa is straightforward. You can do your first run to Bangkok or Kuala Lumpur for under $200 on a plane, see a new city, come back fresh, or you can pay for a service like Linh Visa in Da Nang that will bus you to a border and back in a day. That buys you 90 days more, 3 more months to figure out income, English teaching, freelancing, remote gigs. FYI, in case you're wondering, no, 3 months is not long enough to set up a profitable YouTube channel. Took me 7 years and 4 channels of consistently posting just to make side hustle money doing that. So the worst scenario, you live like your initial move to Vietnam is permanent, but you don't have a plan. No visa extension, no planning, no research. Day 89 rolls around and you're scrambling at the airport with an overstayed visa, paying a $500 US exit stamp fine and begging the border guards not to send your ass to jail. That mistake could nuke half your bankroll in a day. Or worse, you're gonna get blacklisted and then it's game over. No more Vietnam for you, buddy. But honestly, with under $700 a month as a burn rate, you've still got a full year to figure out the whole thing and decide if it is for you. So you cut your monthly spending down to $600 a month in a small town, you got 15 months. That's a long time. That's a year and almost a quarter to reinvent your life. Quick break, time out here. If you're serious about taking the leap and not just bored and at home and doom scrolling YouTube at 4 in the morning, but actually planning and researching how to relocate your life to Vietnam, I made a 60-minute Move to Vietnam masterclass that walks you step by step through the first 90 to 180 days on the ground, visa, housing, banking, healthcare, dating, cost of living, all your frequently asked questions that I can't answer because I don't have time to go into the comments, answered for you. You can click and watch it right now. The link is in the description and pinned in the comment for this video. Next up, we're going to talk about settling in. This is the good stuff, man. The language, the friends, the culture, maybe a wife down the line. Who knows? Okay, so once you've locked down housing, a bike, a part-time job, the real game begins. Settling into a new life in Vietnam. Your new life. This is where most foreigners either thrive or totally flame out. Don't sit in your room scrolling expat rants on Facebook or reading the asinine, burned out, anonymous YouTube trolls in my comment section. Get out into the world and integrate into authentic Vietnamese society. Authentic. Sign up for language lessons. Even a few hours a week changes everything. Even if your Viet is as bad as mine, it's still something. Locals see you trying, suddenly doors open. You make connections. Join free Facebook groups for language exchange. They're full of students who want to practice English. You meet people, practice Vietnamese, and spend nothing but time. Some of them might even be cute. Who knows? You might be single. Anything could happen, buddy. Get on the apps. Tinder, Bumble, Hello Talk. Don't be a passport bro, just socialize. Vietnam's dating and cafe culture is all about talking, hanging out, sipping affordable iced coffee, and that's real integration and cultural immersion. Every conversation will teach you something: where to eat, what to avoid, how to buy stuff cheap, don't make the rookie mistakes, the cost of milk tea, and you unlock the cheapest, most valuable subscription in the country, a local circle of friends. The worst case scenario here, you isolate, no Vietnamese apps, no socializing, just more YouTube videos locked in a crummy, moldy studio. 6 months in, you're miserable, you're lonely, you're counting the days till the visa expires and you can go home. You've become one of the expat trolls who count every single dong they spend and complain about everything that is different from the life they left back home, but which wasn't good enough for them. Your only friends are 2 other angry expat guys. Your version of Vietnam isn't cheap because you eat burgers and pizza every day and drink craft draft beer. I mean, come on, man. If you don't plug into the real Vietnam, you might as well have stayed in Cleveland, in Perth, in Western Canada, like whatever. If I wanted to live like that, I'd go back to Calgary. The barbecue, pizza, and strip malls are better there. Okay, final thoughts. Get your momentum. $10,000 in the US barely paid my rent and insurance for 2 months in a city like San Francisco or Toronto. You'd literally be broke in 30 days. In Vietnam, $10,000 still buys you an entire second go at life. But you have to treat it like a runway, not a vacation. You have to hustle and take risks and challenge yourself to actually grow and change your habits. Otherwise, you'll bring your worst self with you. So you go where the rent is low, you eat local food, stash an emergency fund, and start building your next chapter before the cash runs out. But most importantly, you learn to meet and talk and live with local Vietnamese people and embrace their culture. Because otherwise, what the fuck is the point of moving to Vietnam, man? It's not just for the cheap. I'm Evan A. Watch this video if you want to know more about my life in Vietnam, or watch this one if you want to learn more about other destinations you can land in Southeast Asia.